Welcome back. President Trump is addressing the nation right now. Many of you are watching and listening. We're going to listen here to him for just a couple of minutes. But first, let me quickly bring on William Gheen, who is standing by. Hello, William?
Ready to roll, Jeff.
Okay, let me turn this up. We'll listen in a little bit.
Reserves and resources to handle any threat that comes our way. This is not a financial crisis. This is just a temporary moment of time that we will overcome together as a nation and as a world. However, to provide extra support for American workers, families, and businesses, tonight I am announcing the following additional actions. I am instructing the Small Business Administration to exercise available authority to provide capital and liquidity to firms affected by the coronavirus. Effective immediately, the SBA will begin providing economic loans in affected states and territories. These low-interest loans will help small businesses overcome temporary economic disruptions caused by the virus. To this end, I am asking Congress to increase funding for this program by an additional $50 billion. Using emergency authority, I will be instructing the Treasury Department to defer tax payments without interest or penalties for certain individuals and businesses negatively impacted. This action will provide more than $200 billion of additional liquidity to the economy. Finally, I am calling on Congress to provide Americans with immediate payroll tax relief. Hopefully, they will consider this very strongly. We are at a critical time in the fight against the virus. We made a life-saving move with early action on China. Now we must take the same action with Europe. We will not delay. I will never hesitate to take any necessary steps to protect the lives, health, and safety of the American people. I will always put the well-being of America first. If we are vigilant and we can reduce the chance of infection, which we will significantly impede the transmission of the virus. The virus will not have a chance against us. No nation is more prepared or more resilient than the United States. We have the best economy, the most advanced health care, and the most talented doctors, scientists, and researchers anywhere in the world. We are all in this together. We must put politics aside, stop the partisanship, and unify together as one nation and one family. As history has proven time and time again, Americans always rise to the challenge and overcome adversity. Our future remains brighter than anyone can imagine. Acting with compassion and love, we will heal the sick, care for those in need, help our fellow citizens, and emerge from this challenge stronger and more unified than ever before. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow, that was short.
So saith, well, he couldn't get into trouble. They kept it short, see.
Did he declare a national state of emergency? Did I hear everything? Because, was there something I missed?
No, he did. I didn't hear it. If he did say it, I didn't hear it. All he did, basically, and Todd, William is way hot, just so you know. He's way up there. What I heard was the primary thing he is doing, or whoever is advising him to do, which is what he should have done long ago, was to cut off the flights into this country from areas that are infected, i.e. Iran, Italy, and at this point, now, anybody from Europe, which is what he announced he's going to do. Beginning this Friday at midnight, all flights inbound from Europe to the U.S. are canceled for 30 days. That's a smart move. Whoever came up with that, and I unfortunately don't think it was the president, but whatever. That's a smart move. Since U.S. carriers have been forbidden to be flying into this country from China and most East Asian origination points, we've cut down, at least in theory, some of the input of the virus into our society. But no, that's not what happened. You see, that's what it would look like. Oh, gee, our airlines aren't bringing people in. They're not allowed to fly in from affected areas. Well, the point is, William, all other carriers have not been restricted. Japan Airlines, Korean Air, Hong Kong Airlines, Philippine Air, etc. are still flying in every day to this country, into our western cities, our midwestern cities, you name it. Thousands upon thousands of people who are not being tested and vetted. So the door is still wide open in the front. Our carriers are just not bringing them in. Now, closing the door in the east is smart. That's been wide open this whole time. Italians with the most virulent form of the viral strain have been coming in here routinely, and other people as well. Some Iranians gone into Canada. We've seen all that. So shutting the door to all incoming flights from Europe is the first intelligent thing that I've seen done. Unfortunately, it's way too late. There may be tens of thousands of cases in this country already.
That's
As
right.
of 2 days ago, the CDC had and all 103 public health laboratories who are now doing their own testing or trying to, the CDC and all the public health labs together had only tested 4,900 people. That's 2 days ago. Maybe it's 5,000 now, 6,000. South Korea has tested over 160,000 people. And yet Trump sits there and says, we have the finest health program of any country in the world. We are more prepared than anyone else in the world. He's lying. These are just bald-faced lies. The handling of this entire tragic viral invasion has never been more incompetent and inept by any government that I've seen of a first world nation. All right, I'll stop right there.
Well, and I've been looking so forward to being on your show tonight, Jeff, because I just have to vent. I mean, I have to vent here. One of the core problems we have right now is that we're in the middle of a big crisis. This is probably the biggest black swan kind of event that we've had since 9/11, and we don't really have any leadership. There's no significant leadership on the Democratic side. Bernie's a deranged socialist, and Joe Biden obviously has some type of debilitating condition of some sort.
He's on the way down.
Yeah, and Donald Trump is a perpetual liar, and a reality TV actor who works for the globalist and doesn't really mean anything he says. And we've watched him play this down. On one hand, you can say, well, he's trying to keep people calm, but it goes so much deeper than that. To say that America has botched the initial part of this coronavirus disaster.
That's an understatement. Yeah.
It is an understatement, and we rival the Chinese. You know, they blame the Chinese for lying about it, trying to cover it up when they could have used that time better. Well, we've done worse than that, okay? We've got people, the president, claiming this is the flu, this is the flu, this is the flu, okay?
And this is a hoax, this is a hoax, this is
right.
a hoax.
And in the absence of any real leadership in this country, anybody on a full national stage that has the authority and ability to lead people in a caring and sincere kind of way, all that you've got out there is people parroting what Trump is doing and staking out political positions that this isn't anything to worry about, that this is just the flu, and it's not. It's not the case. And in fact, a big crack opened in that today. One of the headlines on the Drudge Report this morning came directly from one of Trump's top men, Dr. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name, but Dr. Anthony, is it Fauci or Fauci? Fauci. Okay, and he's one of the ones on the panel that I think probably has the most integrity of the bunch. I'm not sure how long he'll still have a job. But the headline from theweek.com reads, coronavirus is 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu, Trump task force immunologist says. And so Dr. Fauci is telling the country that this thing is at least 10 times more deadly than the flu. Yes, the flu is killing more people at this time, but here's a news flash, okay? How many people say, how many people has the coronavirus killed? It's only killed 30 or 20 or whatever. Listen, no, folks. No. We don't know how many people the coronavirus has killed in this country. We don't know how many people are infected in this country. When you say the coronavirus has only killed 30-something people and that we only have 1,200 cases showing on the sick map today, well, no, let's redefine that. What should be said is the coronavirus has killed many factors more than 36 people, and there are many factors more than 1,200 cases in the country. How many more? We don't know. They're not testing the corpses of people that have died. They're not testing sick people.
No.
And the thing that has made me the most angry is after a week of hearing Mike Pence and everybody else say that there's going to be millions of test kits in everybody's hands by this past weekend. Here are these articles still rolling out Monday, Tuesday, and today of, you know, hey, how about the 65 sick healthcare workers or workers in the Kirkland, Washington nursing home where so many elderly people have died. They've got 65 people out showing symptoms, and they haven't been able to get tests. Right there, ground zero, in the epicenter of this crisis with the CDC supposedly embedded in that nursing home, they are right on the ground there. They can't get those people tested. Same things happen with hospitals, doctors, people all across the country.
William, Oregon is out of tests. They ran out of tests today. They have no tests to give anyone who is in need. None. Thanks, Donald, very much. And let me say one. Hold on.
Real quick,
hold
on
that
Monday.
thought. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, on Monday, the Democratic governor of North Carolina declared a state of emergency to be able to free up more assets and stuff. And in the articles about his declaration of emergency, it announced that there were only 150 test kits in the state of North Carolina. We've got over 10 million people in the state of North Carolina. And on the Monday that millions of test kits are supposed to be out there, we've got 150. And that is just completely unacceptable, and it's unacceptable to watch the Chinese and the South Koreans and the Japanese and the people in Singapore and everybody else in the country run laps around the United States response. And I tell you, the only way that I can see that we would see this consistent reporting of people who should be testing, who want to be testing, who need to be tested, being told they can't test it, is to keep the numbers down. And if you don't think Donald Trump wants to see that, keep the numbers down, go pull up a copy of the video where he told people, told the press that he preferred the sick people on the cruise ship not get off of the cruise ship because that would make his numbers look bad.
That's all he cared about.
That's all he cared about was his numbers looking bad, keeping the numbers low. And now you mentioned something real quick a minute ago about, you know, we've talked about was there a emergency declaration, and I don't give a lot of credit to what the communists over at Politico say because they are full-blown communists over there. But it's very interesting. They're claiming they have sources. They say Trump fears emergency declaration would contradict his coronavirus message. Trump is concerned that declaring an emergency would hamper his narrative that the coronavirus is similar to the flu. Politico.
That's why he didn't do it. Okay.
Well,
that's what they're saying.
They're claiming that they have sources inside the White House familiar with the deliberations, let's see here. Quote, the president isn't persuaded because an emergency declaration contradicts his message that this is the flu, a Republican who speaks to Trump said. Health experts have rigorously disputed any assertion that the coronavirus is equivalent to the seasonal flu, noting it's much more lethal and particularly dangerous to the elderly and those with health conditions. So basically, at the White House, some of Trump's closest aides have debated whether an emergency declaration is needed to ensure those resources are available, but they've yet to make a recommendation to Trump according to two people familiar with the situation. Now, of course, that's, you know, Politico-communists, and they're not really naming their sources. But, you know, I hate to see the Democrats and the left being made right. I mean, I've watched them lie, and here they are complaining about the president, and when I'm looking at the press actually doing its job and actually pressuring a lawmaker like Trump or an elected official like Trump the correct way all of a sudden, that's really scary to me because I know these people are liars, and I know that they have an agenda.
Very good point.
But Trump's making them correct by giving them this ammunition in this black swan event. So we have And I've been telling people, and you've been telling people for a long time, that there's a lot more cases out there than anybody knows about. And this was hard to find. So let me tell you how this happened. This was on the Drudge today, and I was going to copy it over to ALIPAC, Jeff, but I got behind on some things, and I didn't do it. And I said, you know what, just let people figure it out for themselves. And I hit click or whatever. I went back to Drudge. This story quickly disappeared from the Drudge report today, and for me to find it again, I had to go digging through my browser cache on my Firefox browser. It's an LA Times article, and it says, and this is real bombshell stuff here. True number of U.S. corona cases is far above official tally, scientists say. An analysis of the novel coronavirus spread inside the United States suggests thousands of Americans are already infected, dimming the prospects for stomping out the outbreak in its early stages. Researchers estimated that by March 1st, and that was, that was 10 days ago, Jeff, that the virus had already infected about 1,000 to 10,000 people who have not yet been accounted for. Right. At the start of this month, about 80 U.S. cases had been confirmed, and officials were still expressing confidence they could contain the virus. Quarantines were put effect and whatnot. Released into the country of about 330 million, each of these travelers spread things around, and apparently the scientists that conducted this said that they tried to take the most favorable readings every step of the way to get the lowest numbers possible. But they recognized that was part of their methodology, to go conservative on all of the different estimates on things. So the 1 to 10,000 cases is the lowest. Now, the Surgeon General, who I really don't like, I've watched the Surgeon General say a lot of things, Adam, said I really don't like.
No, I don't care for him either at all.
Yeah, this guy's not the right guy for that job. But he's talking about, if there were more coronavirus cases out there, we'd be seeing more deaths. Well, guess what? You can't be seeing deaths from coronaviruses because you're not testing people. You're not testing people who are sick, and you're not testing people that died. Now, Italy, they're testing people. They're testing corpses in Italy to determine the cause of death. Right. We could have large numbers of people in this country that have already died from the C virus, and we just don't know. And so what you've got to do, folks, is anybody who tells you or clings to a number to downplay this and says, we're doing really great here because, we acted early to stop the flights from China. We saved many lives. That's why we've only got like 30-something, deaths in the country, like the president says. Anybody says that, they're lying to you in a way. They know that there's been many, many more deaths than what's being said.
Probably thousands, if you go back all the way into December. Anyone who dies of pneumonia, they're not testing them. They are in Italy, but they won't here. Anybody who's old, they die of pneumonia, and there have been many, many who have died in the last 2.5 months. They're not counted. This is a joke, bad joke. Let me say one other thing. Trump or whoever, in cutting off all air travel from Europe for 30 days beginning this Friday, now that's closing the back door. But the front door is still halfway open. All the Asian carriers, he didn't say anything about them. They're still flying in here every damn day with airplanes full of Asians, East Asians, Americans, you name it, coming in here every day. And they're walking right through. And the CDC personnel at the airport, at LAX, for example, who stand there and monitor or watch thousands of people walk past them, trying to pick somebody out and profile people who might have the virus, are not even given masks. They are furious. They're being forced to stand there and breathe the exhalations of thousands of passengers from Asia who are coming in here on all those airlines I mentioned earlier and others. They're not being shut off. Donald, if you're going to shut off incoming air transit, you close both doors. Not just the back door, which had been left open for so long. We probably got thousands of cases coming in that way. Go ahead, William.
Well, yeah, and people all around the world that think they've got it want to be in the United States healthcare system and arena. And, and then governments of other countries like China want to make sure that we get sick with it. Now, one thing that did happen a couple days ago that made me feel a lot better about things is that Tucker Carlson did a clip on this, and I sent a copy.
Thank you. I ran it. Yeah, I ran it.
That was the closest thing I've heard from a national voice
to the truth. Closest to the truth yet.
it lines up with what I've been feeling and saying about this. But it contained a very dark, important warning within Tucker Carlson's speech, which I think, let's see here at the ALIPAC website. What do we have it titled? I'll pull that up while I'm talking. He mentioned that there was some type of communication or release or something in China where someone in a position of authority, and this is titled China Threatening to Cut Off Life-Saving Medicines to USA is what we titled it at ALIPAC. And we'll, on YouTube, if folks want to pull it up over the commercial break here, it's Tucker. Tucker, we must remain calm but not complacent is the name on YouTube of this video we're going to discuss after the break.
We'll do that and more. What I just heard from Donald Trump was just a load of garbage, except for the European shutdown. If you're going to protect this country, it's too late anyhow. I don't know why I'm even talking about this. We may have thousands and thousands of cases right now, spreading it to thousands and thousands of more America. It's too late. He should have shut the door, both doors, a month and a half ago. He should have 2 months ago ordered American companies to begin producing face masks and PPEs for all of our health workers. When you put CDC personnel at the airports and tell them to monitor for potential incoming coronavirus cases and the infected, to look for symptoms, and all these people walk past that, how would you feel not even having a mask on, breathing all this air that is being spewed by these thousands of passengers coming in from Asia? Hold on a minute. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back. And Todd, if you can give both me and William about 25% more, that'd be, I think, really good. All right. The Tucker Carlson video that William pointed out is very important. I'm going to play just a little bit of it, Tucker, maybe 120 seconds worth, just to give you all an idea. And I will put it back up in headlines. Let's see if I can find out. I'll tell you what the exact title is, and you can find it just searching headlines. Here's Tucker. Here's what he said. Extraordinary. And you know the guy is on a leash, but he really sticks his neck out.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. The Chinese coronavirus epidemic turns out to be just that, an epidemic. There's no denying that now. According to the official count, this country has recorded more than 500 cases of the virus and suffered at least 24 deaths. The real number is without question far higher than that. Soon we will have a better sense of just how much higher. By then, this epidemic will have caused economic damage whose effects may dog us for years. People you know will get sick. Some may die. This is real. That's the point of this script, to tell you that we'll be forgiven if the whole thing snuck up on you as if from nowhere. An obscure virus arising from a meat market in eastern China to sicken American citizens in Oregon, in New Hampshire, in Illinois, in Midtown Manhattan. It sounds ridiculous. Nor have our leaders helped us to take it seriously. On the left, you've heard them tell you that the real worry is that you might use the wrong word to describe what's happening to the country. It's racist, they're telling you, to blame the most racist nation in the world for the spread of this virus. Right. Meanwhile, if we're being honest, the other side has not been especially helpful either. People you trust, people you probably voted for, have spent weeks minimizing what is clearly a very serious problem. It's just partisan politics, they say. Calm down. In the end, this is just like the flu, and people die from that every year. Coronavirus will pass, and when it does, we will feel foolish for worrying about it.
Well, gee, guess who Tucker was talking about right then, William? And I would parenthetically say I would have much rather seen this Tucker Carlson monologue broadcast coast to coast to the nation and the people than what I just watched Trump present. Go ahead.
Well, and he goes on to warn that the Chinese are now threatening to cut off our medical supplies in the middle of this crisis.
That's right.
That they're holding the keys to be able to throw the United States into an almost apocalyptic environment. So, while we don't want anybody to panic, and we don't want anybody slugging it out over toilet paper, in the aisles, okay? And, you know, there's a lot of mocking and joking going around with toilet paper, but some of the people who are or have already stocked up on toilet paper and other necessities have done so because they don't want to have to go out into the shopping zones as this contagion grows. They understand exponential systems. They understand pandemics and epidemics, and they have taken precautions. You know, so what happens is the run on toilet paper gets turned into, oh, anybody who is stocking up on anything is somehow or another crazy and panicked and harmful to people. And that's just not true. We need, I'll be honest with you, right now, I don't know what the future holds, but it is completely prudent, advisable, a good idea to prepare for, I don't know if I'd say it's likely, but the strong possibility that you and everyone else or lots of other people, it will probably vary from different parts of the country at different times, can shelter in place for 2 weeks to 2 months. That's what we've learned from Wuhan, China. That's what we've learned from South Korea. That's what we have learned from Italy. We're learning right now from Italy.
Very large urban areas in this country may be locked down, okay? That's what's coming.
Which means people listening to this show may be locked down.
That's right.
And you need to have essentials and some reserves there. And because, you know, in Italy, I just saw briefly, it was just heartbreaking. Some famous actor has been quarantined in his home with several other relatives, and his sister, his sister's body, at the time of the video, his sister had died from the coronavirus, and her body was still in the home 36 hours later. Meaning in Italy, they've got people dying in their homes, and they're not able to pick up all the bodies, you know, in a reasonable...
That's what we saw in Wuhan, body bags on the street. They just put them out in front of the door and wait for the trash truck to come by. Then they go off to the furnaces with them. That's what they're going to have to do here, pass out body bags. Tom Hanks has announced that he has coronavirus along with his wife, Rita. Just FYI.
Yeah, they're stuck in Australia, I believe.
Something like that.
I saw something like it, yeah. And it's not going to be long before one of these lawmakers comes down with it, and then that's going to change people's perspective. And another thing is going on, like I said, we have the absence of leadership that's there too, but there's also a type of panic going on that you see on the social media with people who are making bravado posts about this is nothing to worry about, this is just flu, and ha ha ha.
You mean it's a hoax, William?
Yeah, it's a hoax, and you're panicking and acting crazy over toilet paper, ha ha ha. You know, these are the type of different reactions people have when confronted with something serious, and they're not sure what to do with it, especially in the absence of leadership. And if I were the President of the United States, I would say, listen, let's not cause any runs on things, but everybody in the non-affected areas, you need to slowly start building up some reserves so that you will have what you need in case you need to shelter in place for 2 weeks to 2 months, including medications and things to eat and clean water and you know, something to read or a deck of cards. You know, instead they're going to try to wade right into it and let these fractures and cracks happen under people who weren't warned, who didn't think it was anything they needed to worry about. So many people are going to get caught, you know, unprepared for it, and that's going to make the situation worse, especially in inner city areas. And you know what? The cities of China, under the totalitarian control of the Chinese Communist government, which will roll in tanks and kill many people if they need to keep order, they don't have the type of populations that we have here in the United States in the middle of places like Los Angeles and New York and other places. The reaction of American cities from this outbreak is going to be very different when a younger, less affected population, you know, the people 18 and younger in the inner city areas are going to be much more mildly affected than the older populations in the suburbs and the countryside. And once, you know, our fire and rescue and police get, you know, we've already got police departments all across the country with unfilled positions because they can't get people to work for the police because they've been so maligned. And
wait till the virus goes through the departments. They've lost how many firefighters in Kirkland, Washington? Almost 40, I think, altogether. 30 something. Anyway,
quarantine. Yep.
Two stations are shut down. At least one, I think two. But anyway, when the first responders are gone and you dial 911, nobody's going to answer it. So you better be prepared to defend yourself in your home. And if you haven't been prepared up until this point, it's a little late.
Well, there are people buying guns and ammo. Ammo sales are up, and people are preparing because people out there who are preparing are not just preparing for the coronavirus itself. It's secondary and tertiary impacts, including the supply chain. The fact that China's manufacturing has been knocked offline. The fact that's going to cause problems and stresses and breaks. That all sorts of
excuse me, William, I got to say this. Didn't our president promise us for a year and a half that he was going to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.? And after 3 years and how many months? 3? I don't think that's happened.
Well, I tell you, there's an old saying, crisis means opportunity. And hopefully the positive spin I'll put on this is there may be an opportunity here for the United States to correct many of these problems, because
if William and I had a business that could create and build PPEs for health workers and masks for the general public, we'd be billionaires before this is over.
Well, I think that we need people to understand that this crisis is making clearer to me every day that there are 3 completely unacceptable presidential candidates running around out there. I'm sorry, Donald Trump is not an acceptable presidential candidate, and neither is Joe Biden. And every day on the backdrop of this pandemic crisis or disaster that we're looking at, it should become more clear to people who are clear-minded. But again, there are so many people around us who are not clear-minded about what's going on here. But it should be. And the people who were responsible, and this is mentioned in Tucker's video later on, the people who were responsible for not letting China take away our manufacturing of 97% of the antibiotics that we need for this country not to be turned back into Middle Ages. They have the ability to turn off 97% of our antibiotics, including many of the precursor materials that we would need to try to start manufacturing on antibiotics. You're talking about, that means that China, without firing one bullet, without launching one torpedo, without launching one missile or aircraft or plane, has the ability to kill millions of Americans by simply no longer exporting to us.
That's 100% right. Back to Trump's gibberish, he's talking about loans. Yeah, let's give people loans at interest. And how about the workers when they can't go to work, a lot of them? If they don't have to be sick, their business can shut down for a variety of reasons, right? They pay taxes. But they're not going to pay taxes if they're not working. Trump actually sounded like a man who doesn't have a clue. What they did in Italy was smart. They've suspended all mortgage payments without penalty to all citizens in Italy. That's what should be done here right now. It won't happen for a while, but maybe it'll happen down the road. That man said absolutely nothing with the exception of shutting down air travel from Europe. He said nothing about the West and Asian air travel. I point that out again, which is the big open door to the virus.
Well, he made it clear, though. He made it clear that he's going to take some economic steps to help businesses. And I think, right. And look, I believe that businesses are important, especially our small and medium businesses out there in America that employ so many people. And I am a pro-business person, but at the same time, once again, Donald Trump is signaling that his main interest is financial. His main interest is economic. His main interest is the business, the money. He's a money guy, and his focus is on the money. And so he's going to do something with the money to help us.
That was really a terrible statement that he gave to the nation. Look at Seattle. Look at the videos of Seattle. It looks like a ghost town. Every business on the streets in that town is dying right now, or damn near dying. And what's going to happen to that? Who's going to help those people? They're going to lose everything. He made no statement that gave me any confidence.
We need a declaration of national emergency to see, but through his leadership. He says he wants to help slow the spread. He could do that by leading. Okay, Biden and Sanders have canceled campaign events. Trump has not. He's scheduled one in Milwaukee in about 8 days.
He wants to bring his cult members together there in Milwaukee. It's the start of the Catholics for Trump movement, something like that. Oh, yeah, he's going to bring them all together. Real smart.
He could show some leadership, especially amongst the people his age. And look, all three candidates are in the risk zone over 70 years old.
High risk.
All right, so he's showing by leadership, Trump's leadership by what he does, not what he says, but what he does is, hey, I'm 70 years old and I'm going to go out there and shake hands with everybody at a large, big event like I'm not afraid of everything. You should too.
A lot of people are cheering that announcement, by the way, and for the reasons that he wouldn't like. They'd love to see him get this. That's
but you can't tell people that are elderly that they need to stay home and avoid large rallies when you're elderly and you're throwing large rallies. The hypocrisy is glaring in their faces.
It's over the top. It's just completely nuts.
He should lead by example by declaring a state of emergency and freeing up military and other government resources that are only available in a time of emergency that can get the people that we're going to need. We're going to need National Guard backup for law enforcement, fire and rescue people. We're going to need National Guard helping the hospitals. We're going to need the National Guard doing things like they're doing in New York, going in and cleaning schools, cleaning streets, handling things like that. We're probably going to need the National Guard delivering food, emergency food supplies, emergency medical supplies. We're going to need federal government resources as far as extra medical help for all the people out there who are going to break an arm or a leg during this thing. Get a really bad case of the flu that would be treatable if they could get the healthcare, the access they need. All of these things require mobilization of the nation, and he's not doing that. He's not leading this country. Right now, whatever Trump is doing with his campaigns and trying to cut some payroll taxes, he's not, and his committee, he's not really leading this country as the captain of the ship in any type of capacity to warrant the true threat that we're up against here with the first severe modern pandemic. This is the first very severe modern pandemic that we've ever faced since perhaps maybe Hong Kong flu 1968 or Asian flu 1957. And hopefully this won't go worse than those two. Could be the worst we face since the Spanish flu almost, we don't know yet, and I'm not trying to be an alarmist, but I'm just saying that he's a laissez-faire, free market capitalist who wants, who thinks that just because he's, and he actually said this, I don't know if you've seen the video clip of this, he said just yesterday, for everyone to relax, it's going to go away.
I know. That's why I said I would much rather seen Tucker Carlson on nationwide television delivering the same address that we've got up there on video. Far more human, far more humane, far more intelligent. Just got to note that the NBA has just canceled the entire season or postponed it. No more games. The other leagues, the other pro leagues will probably now fall in line with that as well. A Utah player named Rudy Gebert tested positive for the virus. He apparently got sick on the court. They tested him, and he's positive. So apparently the entire team is now quarantined. They're down. Look, it's bad. And Trump just failed miserably to stand up to the challenge.
He wasn't even on the air for 10 minutes.
No.
What was that, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
We have a national crisis, and the man comes on the air for 10 minutes, talks about canceling some flights and cutting some tax and loan and other breaks for businesses.
$50 billion for SBA loans or something. I don't know.
Billions of dollars for businesses.
There it is. Always the same. No. Tucker was 20,000 times more humane, and important to listen to. But we're not going to see that.
We have smart people in this country. And, one of the complaints I have about Mike Pence, Mike Pence should not be the head of this committee.
Of course not. We need a czar.
He's a politician whose main goal is to get reelected. And the head of the commission...
should have named Anthony Fauci or somebody like that.
Someone with medical and pandemic experiences should be leading it and been given autonomy, a great deal of autonomy, to tell the president what he needs to do or a recommendation instead of the president calling all the shots. And you know, that's why we need to watch Fauci, because, I mean, he may disappear and no longer be on the cameras or faded into the background. He came out today and told everybody this thing's 10 times more deadly than the flu, which directly contradicts Trump's, oh, it's the flu, it's the flu, it's the flu. So we don't know how long Fauci's going to keep talking, but Mike Pence is the wrong person. And the last thing that Mike Pence headed up was the Elections Integrity Board that Trump created right after he won the election, and unfortunately, he put Chris Kobach from Kansas in the number 2 slot. Okay, right there, same type of thing. Chris Kobach should have been made the chair of the Elections Integrity Commission and turned loose to fight those battles. But see, Trump doesn't really like true other leaders. He likes puppets. He likes people that work for him exclusively. That's why he didn't get along with Jeff Sessions. He's insecure.
Of course, he doesn't want any threats around him. Look, Dr. Fauci said it's going to get worse, far, far worse.
We renewed our endorsement for Jeff Sessions today, Jeff, and the reason we did
put that up. Very good.
We did it because we saw Trump is trying to mess up the election in Alabama again and throw it to a Democrat by endorsing some rhino, just like he did last time. And Jeff Sessions is an honorable man. I wasn't happy with his performance as Attorney General, as I know many people listening right now were not. But the truth is, Donald Trump would have never been elected if Jeff Sessions hadn't led the national fight against the amnesty bills in 2005 and 2006 under Bush, and then 2010 and 12 under Obama. Jeff Sessions was the strongest illegal immigration and amnesty fighter in the United States Congress, both houses, Senate and House, for over a decade before Johnny-come-lately Donald Trump walked in. And Jeff Sessions endorsed and backed Trump when Trump had a credibility issue. He had no history on immigration issues, and Jeff Sessions put his history of credibility behind Trump to elect him, and still supports him now. If you look at what Jeff Sessions is saying in his campaign for Senate and what's on his website, he still supports Donald Trump right now. Yet Trump reached into his race and endorsed his opponent. We endorse Jeff Sessions. We hope people listening will contribute to Jeff Sessions, volunteer for Jeff Sessions' campaign. And if you live in the state of Alabama or you know people in the state of Alabama, ask them to please send Jeff Sessions back to the United States Senate with us. Trump doesn't want him in the U.S. Senate because Jeff Sessions opposes amnesty and Donald Trump supports it.
That's right. Here's a quick clip of Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci, with certainly one of many who should have been considered to take the reins of this antivirus effort here.
Worse yet to come, Dr. Fauci.
Yes, it is. We will see more cases, and things will get worse than they are right now. How much worse we'll get will depend on our ability to do two things: to contain the influx in people who are infected coming from the outside, and the ability to contain and mitigate within our own country. Bottom line, it's going to get worse.
There you go. All right. Cut and dried. No question. Didn't hear that from Trump.
No, we got no dose of realism from Trump. And that's why I wonder if Trump can, I mean, I know that his Democrat opponents are terribly handicapped and debilitated, but, you know, Trump used a lot of the truth. He may not have meant the truth, but he used a lot of the truth about what the country needed to do about Mexico and China and illegal immigration to win the 2016 election against the odds. Now, he's using lies instead of the truth, and I just don't know
he's making it up as he goes along.
Well, he's not using the truth like he used to.
No.
He's on a different type of script. And he's not even talking about border and other type issues. He went on, his campaign manager, Pascal, went on, Parscale, went on the Lou Dobbs show. And Lou Dobbs softballs Trump because, you know, Trump's had him over to the White House and wined and dined Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs has been on the take for a long time now. We used to love Lou Dobbs back in the day until we caught him over on Univision or Telemundo saying he supported immigration reform, amnesty for illegals.
Whoops.
And yeah, but he's sitting there saying, and Parscale saying that the reason they're not talking about border security and illegal immigration issues in the 2020 election is that they already have all of those voters. Well, let me tell you something, folks. The reason Donald Trump's not running on border security and immigration issues in the 2020 election, is because he can't. His true record on those issues is abysmal, and what he's really trying to do contradicts what he told everybody he was going to do in 2016. And that's why he's not running on it. He's running on the economy. While the economy was doing well, he's like, hey, here's something I said I was going to do, and I'm going to campaign on it. He can't campaign on immigration because he's a disaster on immigration.
Well said, my friend. I just hope all of you out there pay close attention to this program and people like William and all of our guests here. We're doing our best to help you help yourselves. And I do hope many of you have already made plans, put food away, and get ready to. I'm serious. You're going to have to protect yourselves.
Yep.
There's not going to be police coming when you dial 911. You better have some protection. That's what the Second Amendment was all about. Thank you, William, for everything. And be safe, be well.
Yeah, see you next week, and hope your listeners will drop by and join our email alerts at alipac.us. That's ALIPAC.us.
Thank you, my friend. Be well. Be safe. Okay, William Gheen. And back with more in just a minute. If you missed it, actually, Tom Hanks and his wife are in Australia. They'll be quarantined. They both have coronavirus. The NBA has canceled its entire season after a Utah Jazz player became sick right on the court with coronavirus. So we'll keep following it all for you. This is a big deal. Hang on.